Hello, everyone. So I'm happy to talk with you today about an organizational learning program for Yale Library staff currently in development about generative AI. It differs from other AI staff training programs or online courses you might find on the internet or on platforms like LinkedIn Learning, in that it's specifically designed around the work that library staff do and the skills they will need to support and advance research and learning at the university. First, a quick introduction to Yale University and its library system. Established in 1701, Yale Library is one of the most extensive academic library collections in North America, featuring over a dozen libraries, including the Arts Library, and a dedicated staff of over 500 people. A key part of the library's mission is the recognition of staff's expertise and its critical role in advancing the goals of the university. To support this aspect of the library's mission, the Yale Library Learns Committee was created to provide more support for the learning and development of Yale Library staff. Our vision statement for the committee reads, "As a university, Yale is at its heart a learning organization. As an instrumental partner in student learning and as an organization that values staff excellence, along with diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, Yale Library must also grow as a learning organization to achieve its goals." The committee has in the past organized a program of customer service training, revamped the library's new staff onboarding guide, and when library operations resumed fully on site after the pandemic, the committee helped refresh and resume orientation sessions for new employees. I'm the founding chair of the committee, which happened because of our strong customer service focus and commitment to staff learning at the Arts Library. Members of the Yale Library Learns Committee are selected through an application process. Our current members are listed here, and as you can see from their job titles, they represent a variety of roles in the library. This committee was eventually tasked with developing and overseeing the AI learning program I'll talk about today. And the members were selected based on their current knowledge of AI and their enthusiasm for staff learning. So in January of this year, Yale University formed an AI task force comprised of 18 campus leaders to explore strategic opportunities for leveraging artificial intelligence to advance Yale's mission of improving the world through groundbreaking research, education, preservation, and practice. By June, the task force released a report of reflections and recommendations, and I've given you a QR code here for the full report. In August, the AI at Yale website, so just not long ago, the AI at Yale website was launched and serves as a hub for guidance, online tutorials, and tools for staff, students, and faculty at Yale. So much of the content is available to anyone, but the tools are restricted to Yale members. A main feature of the site is called Clarity, a Yale platform that provides access to an AI chatbot that's similar to OpenAI's ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot with data protection, but housed within Yale's secure infrastructure that enables users to utilize their sensitive, confidential, and proprietary data. The Clarity AI chatbot is a generative AI tool that can help you write emails and reports, write code, describe and analyze uploaded images, and summarize uploaded documents. It is not currently set up to generate images, and staff are instructed to use Adobe Firefly for that purpose. So at the end of last year, word was getting around that generative AI would be a strategic focus of the university, which I just mentioned. And as that university-wide task force was being formed, it was decided that Yale Library Learns should shift its focus to leading a staff training program about generative AI. As chair of the committee, I worked with library administration to develop a project charge focused on building staff's knowledge of AI concepts, tools, and methods. And this envisioned program would help motivate staff to utilize AI in their own work and to support the work of others in their research and learning. As a side note, in the past year, some librarians have started to offer AI-related workshops for Yale students, faculty, and staff And one example is a workshop being offered this fall by Tess Caldwell, the arts librarian for research services at Haas Arts Library, called Do Photos Lie? Visual Literacy in the Age of AI. And another workshop is called Demystifying the Literature Review for Scientists, which includes discussion about when it's best to use AI tools versus library-provided databases, and is taught by one of the library's science and engineering librarians. So these are really great workshops and are open to the entire Yale community, but they really aren't designed specifically for library staff and their work. The learning program Project Charge recognizes a need for an introduction to AI specifically for library staff. So once the AI learning program Project Charge was approved, the committee got to work developing learning objectives on which to build the whole learning program. The first objective is gain a baseline understanding of generative AI and what it encompasses. Staff will develop a basic vocabulary of AI methods, tools, and techniques. We also want staff to understand some of the history of how AI was developed over time and to understand the current limitations of generative AI. The second learning objective is understand how generative AI is already being used and what's on the horizon in academic libraries and in library products to identify ways to leverage generative AI to improve library services, resources, and operations. Through the learning program, we want staff to learn common ways that library and archives users may want to use AI or are already using it in their research, learning, and teaching. We also want people to learn what products are being developed in the library and archives sphere, and most importantly, how library and archives colleagues are using AI at Yale and beyond to enhance their work and that of the users they serve. The third learning objective focuses on ethics. We want people to learn ethical concepts for working with generative AI tools so they are prepared to evaluate and use these tools responsibly in their work. We want people to feel they understand the complexities and potential pitfalls of working with the kind of large data sets in which generative AI is trained. They should understand the potential risks posed by AI, for instance, data harvesting inherent to using AI tools, and what the responsible use looks like. We want them to learn ethical models for working AI to advance the library's goal to reduce bias and increase equity and inclusion. And we also want them to learn risk assessment models that can be applied to workflows. So here is an outline for the learning program and the schedule we're working with now. In January, we will launch an online course for library staff and have a kickoff event in the form of a half-day symposium with guest speakers and lightning talks. Later in 2025, we are also planning a professional development funding program for staff who want to take fee-based training about generative AI. We are also planning in-person training events and contests for staff. While developing the program's content, the committee decided to run a short survey to gauge staff's experience with AI. The responses revealed diverse levels of familiarity and usage of generative AI. Around 46% of staff who responded identified as beginners, very new to AI, maybe haven't even touched a tool yet, while 43% had an intermediate understanding is what they thought, and then 11% considered themselves more advanced users. They also cited current uses of AI for generating alt text for website images, creating summaries, drafting professional emails, and aiding in online research. Despite some skepticism and concerns about AI usage, 26% of respondents provided examples of how they thought AI could enhance their work. When asked how they would like to use it in the future of their work, their examples largely fell into three categories. Description being one, so for instance, cataloging, archival description, digital collections, and more digital or metadata workflows. The second was teaching with collections, being able to use, interact with students using AI tools. And then the third being transcription, so being able to use AI tools to transcribe handwritten text found in our digitized special collections. And I thought it'd be interesting to look at a couple of the comments that were given in the survey to show kind of a range of comfort with AI. One person said, I haven't tried anything AI related because I'm not sure I trust it. Also, it feels a bit like cheating, though I don't know why. I use other mechanical aids in my work, like calculators. So for whatever reason, I feel predisposed to avoid it and feel like I will need to learn a lot more before I will incorporate AI into my own work. Another staff member responded, I believe the use of AI in my work would be very beneficial. Work would get done faster and more efficiently. AI will save us a lot of time and energy that we can use and focus on other things. Considering the large range of staff's AI knowledge and skills and the diversity of staff roles within the library, the committee is creating a learning program that will appeal to both beginners and more advanced users, staff in public services, and people who work behind the scenes. The kickoff symposium in January will introduce to staff the new online course that we're designing. There will be a panel of leaders from across campus that are already engaged in AI-related activities, including staff from Yale's Center for Teaching and Learning, from IT, and people who helped to build the AI at Yale website and tools. We will also invite library staff to do lightning talks on work-related experiments they've conducted with AI tools, which we're just starting to hear about now. Early this year, the university's IT department had created a self-directed online course about AI that anyone at Yale can take, and it's on this platform called Workday Learning. It's an excellent introduction to AI, but still aspects of it are created from an IT perspective, and these are just a couple screenshots. The Workday Learning platform is pretty great. It allows a staff member to track their own learning, so you can imagine you can set up a whole learning path as a manager or supervisor in the Workday Learning system. And here's a screenshot of my own transcript showing some of the training I've participated in online as well as in person at the university. A goal is to have all of our training flow through the Workday system so that staff can do this kind of tracking of their learning over time. But the platform was only released last year, and it's still very new. So we're not quite there yet, and this AI course will be the first thing that the library puts on Workday Learning for its staff. So here's the draft outline for the self-directed course that the committee is working on. The introduction will explain the why of the course. Why did we put this together for you? Why did we develop it for staff? There will be a short introduction to the history of how generative AI came to be. We'll include examples of how AI can be used in the library, and I think Sue's presentation this morning was a perfect example of the kind of thing we probably want to show in the course. And we want to explain how library staff are uniquely suited to teach prompt engineering to students and faculty. We also felt it was important to include large sections about the ethical dimensions of working with AI, how to critically assess AI-generated content, and how library staff can advocate for better AI policies and tools, particularly when meeting with library product developers. A goal is to also create content that is evergreen so that we hopefully won't need to update the course more than a couple times a year, which is a challenge in the current environment. We've also had to consider how deep and detailed to make the course, considering the range of staff expertise. As a group, we've decided the focus at this stage should be on the person very new to AI, with the idea of potentially creating a follow-up course that goes more in depth. And I would say, I'm going to confess, I'm probably the most new to AI on this committee. We selected people that were much more conversant in AI, so I'm a good test case for the course, and have repeatedly had to ask the developers of the course to simplify, because we do have people who've been working in the digital humanities space for a long time and are very conversant. Finally, we'll also launch a series of events called Learn AI Together that will include prompt engineering workshops for staff and as well as art competitions using AI tools. And right now, though, we're really immersed in developing the course, so we haven't got to this yet, but this is kind of what we have in mind. And then we're meeting with our library IT colleagues. They're currently teaching the prompt engineering workshops for staff, but we're going to start partnering with them on that. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you what our goals are at Yale Library and preparing our staff for a future in which we will all be using AI tools in our day-to-day work. So I'd be interested to know if you have any questions, and I'm also happy to share anything I can after the conference if anything's helpful to you in developing a program like this.